Yes, indeed, of course. A pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, in Trinidad, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web. A pleasant good day to you. I had a wonderful night last night, and of course, this morning I was reminiscing. And indeed, of course, just to see young people strive in their own element. It is a wonderful experience, and I'm sure you enjoyed it as well last night, as these two kids, of course, tested their own skills and their own knowledge. But I want to say this, and of course, I am also beseeching all teachers in this country. I know that when I was at training college, for example, and I know it still is, a fundamental departure from what we would have grown up on in terms of delivery of content and material for the purposes of education and therefore exam, etc. When, of course, it is now said that if a child cannot pass your exam, you said, if the child cannot pass the exam that you said, then teaching did not take place. Understand that. So those of you who would forget or somehow put that as secondary, because I grew up in an era when, of course, a teacher will set a test and don't expect you to pass, don't expect you to top the class, don't expect you to get everything right. Well, the philosophy has changed. If the child, the student, your charges cannot pass your test, teaching did not take place, and I believe in that fundamental. All right, people? I thought it was important, of course, to share that with you, because last night, that came out when, of course, Joshua said that while, of course, we did our part in terms of getting the social studies material for him for a particular project, which, of course, would have accrued some marks for him in this continuing assessment process that we have converted our teaching system into, or education system into. But I was surprised that he wasn't aware of the meaning of the red in our national flag and the white and black and so on. Of course, he had to do some what I consider to be not just revision, just in case, but he had to do some serious, what I consider to be increase, and at short measure, or in short measure, learn all of those things overnight. And I am pleased to know that, I'm pleased to accept the fact that he did what he had to do. All right, so that is how it is. But last night was a tremendous night. I trust that those students who would have been the beneficiary of that encounter, that you would have learned something as well. And most importantly, is that if you do not know something, that is all right. That is all right. But what I don't want you to do is to postpone that which you do not know for somewhere in the future, when, of course, that same thing may come your way and the opportunity may well pass you because you didn't learn now. You see, I always tell my students, and I tell my son as well, that now is the time to absorb as much as you can as a sponge. Because when you become an adult, 18 years, and you have to, of course, manage your own affairs, these things that you ought to have learned and you didn't learn it, it means therefore you have to double up, and it consumes time, and of course will delay your ability to earn as much as you can with the skills that you may either be focusing upon or came out of school with. That being as it may, let me say, of course, once again, a pleasant good night to those of you who just joined us. This is the Corridor Transformation, and I don't think I have to reiterate. I don't have to reiterate the purpose of the children's section, if you want to call that, or the segment of the corridor transformation. I think we need something like this, and you're going to see it expand. We are going to have some competition right here, the 15 minutes, but on a Saturday, when of course we will dedicate that time strictly to the kids. But in terms of today and moving onwards, of course, we'll give Joshua his 15 minutes. All right? So, of course, let me just say, by way of welcome and introduction, once again, my son, pleasant good night to you. You have anything you want to introduce? Because I have some anxious things I want to ask you tonight. But go ahead.
Good night, everybody. Welcome to the program. Well, yesterday, I just want to say one of the colors that symbolizes the countries. Well, red symbolizes the sun's energy, the courage, the encouragement of the people, and the vitality of the people.
Ah, well said, boy, well said. So he learned something from last night. And that is good. I trust that you out there also, and include, of course, the parents who may have to pass on the information to your children, because, of course, there is this notion that parents have to stay away from what I consider the content, material of their children, and leave that up to the teachers. No. Why do you think they give you? Why do you think they give homework? Is because you too must participate, because first thing you have to ask whether or not, because if you leave the child, the typical child, especially in these parts, they will always say they have homework. You have to check the books. Yeah, you have to check the books. You do like me, check the books and make sure if I can do it, I ask his mother to do it, so that we are on top of things. Very, very, very important, particularly in communities where education is not considered to be a priority. But I can tell you at the end of the day, it is a priority for all, because as the Prime Minister rightly said, education takes you out of poverty. You may not realize it now, but in the future, you would see. I am a living example of that, and we'll share more about that later down the road. I don't need to treat you that now. But let me ask you, I'm dying to ask you, son, I think last night you did say that what are the types of fractions, for example, before you read and then make your departure, but you did tell us the types of fractions. What are the types of fractions again?
Vulgar fractions, decimal fractions, and percentage fractions.
Ah, yes indeed, right. So if I want to write, for example, a half in vulgar fraction, what would you write? Just now we'll have something on the board, so he will be able to go on the board, and anybody else in order to. But right now we have to speak it. So let me hear what you would write.
1 under 2.
1
under 2.
1 under 2. So you have a dividing line.
I mean 1 over 2.
And of course 1 over 2 meaning that you have the 1, and then of course the dividing line, and then the 2. All right, okay, a vulgar fraction. And if you have to write percentage, a half in percentage terms, well, how would you write it?
Can you repeat that?
A half in percentage terms. You just gave me the half for vulgar. How would you write a half in percentage terms?
Percentage.
Percentage, yes. Not decimal, percentage. We go to decimal after.
50%.
50%. And how you write, how would I know that you mean percent? How would you write that?
It's supposed to have like something like so.
Alright, a symbol with a small 0 on top and a small 0 below with a slant line. Alright, okay. I have to help you though, because of course if he writes it, of course everybody would be able to understand, I suppose. And in the case of decimal, a half, how would you write a half in decimal? As a decimal fraction here.
There is a .05.
point
Point
zero,
zero five.
point,
Point
point
05.
05?
Yes.
You sure? Or 0.5?
0.5.
Or 0.5? Yes, all right, okay. Yes, so 0.5, of course, in decimal. That will suggest a half. We're not going to go further, of course. Let us just read what you plan to read tonight. I'll leave that up to you. I'm not going to do it by chance. So just, but you read whatever you want to read from whatever book, and let's because you have to prepare for school tomorrow. So I don't want to keep you too long. Go ahead. You have something to read? Quickly, because I want you to. Dog what?
Dogman.
Dogman. All right, quickly. Let's go.
You can talk a little bit wise.
All right, you want to talk while you're looking. I thought you would have been ready so far. Look how long you're on the program. I just have my thing in the top of my head. All right, so of course, why is he looking for the page that he wants to share with you?
All
All right, he's here. All right, and the man, listen, you brought that book here already, right? So please, I don't want to see it again. That is not advancing. You have books in the library. There's a lot of books, and you have to get new experiences. When you do the same thing over and over, you get boring. I don't know how come that you're not suffering from boredom with that. But go ahead. He loves comic. That's why.
I'm gonna keep my eye on you.
You're gonna keep an eye on you. I hear you. Go ahead.
And then Dogman looks at the chief.
Dogman. Okay.
Dogman slowly puts his head up to the chief.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you have to say for yourself? Dogman looks at the chief straight in his eye. Dogman licks.
Dogman did what?
Dogman licks him because he's a dog.
All right. Dogman, who's that? Dogman. Oh, lick. Right. Okay. Right. Because of lick, not licks. Lick. All right.
And then, water is falling off of the chief's face and Dogman smiles. Then after the chief tells him, get out of here.
People, well, what he's doing is looking at the pictures and narrating. So he's not reading. He's making it up as he go along. I suppose that's why he chooses that book. But I read those two, and then we finish.
Poor Dogman's day started. Wait.
Sorry, what?
Poor Dogman's day had started out badly.
Badly. Okay. Yes.
But
Go ahead.
things were about to get worse.
Things were about to get worse. All right. Well, yeah. Last night as well, we did some grammar. You know, I love to make certain that those youths out there are familiar, and maybe parents to, of course, assist your children as well. Joshua did, of course, announce, and we'll have him do it again, the 8 parts of speech in terms of the English language, but also we did nouns and different types of nouns last night. Yes, I think what's the name? What's the name? Maya was very, very, very good, and of course Joshua came up the rear as well, very good as well. But of course we look at the noun and we look at pronouns last night, and just as nouns has pronouns, the words that use instead of the noun, we have verbs, action words, and then we have, of course, adverbs. You familiar with adverbs? What's adverb?
Adverb is. I don't really think I do adverbs before.
So, they usually end in ly.
Nah.
This describes a verb. You see, so that's why we are doing it that way. The pronoun is used instead of a noun, and you have the adjective describing, is a describing word, That's all. Describing words, adjective, describing words.
Yeah.
And we did that. And then, of course, we have adverb. We have verbs, the action word, and then we have adverbs describing the verb. So, make up a sentence and describe. You want to describe the verb for me? They usually end in ly, so you know it should be pretty easy. But it has to describe a verb.
It's harder than an NY.
Ly.
Hold on.
Like he is laughing. Laughing is a verb, that's all. But he's laughing loudly. The adverb. That's all. Describing the verb. How are you laughing? Loudly. He is laughing loudly. So, all right, I'll give you a hint. Quick. Come on, man. You can do it. You can do it. That's it. Yes. Give me one day.
The children screams loudly. I don't know.
The children what? Go ahead.
Screams loudly.
Very good. The children scream because they can scream. Loudly. How? They did it? Loudly. Yes. The adverb describing the verb scream. How did he or she scream? Or they scream? Loudly. And therefore, loudly is what? An adverb. You want to give me one more before you go? Because you're looking like if you're on a roll here. You're on a roll. Come on. Let's go, man. Let's go. Because I have the Prime Minister's speech to deal with afterwards. And of course, I want to open up the lines quickly because I know people, are raring to go. But let's hear. Why he's thinking, I helping him think it's a little music.
The children sings loudly.
The children what?
Sings loudly.
The children sings loudly. You need to give me loudly now. All right, okay, I'll accept that. The children sings loudly. You can't give me a different one instead of song and so on.
I really can't.
What about if they're running? How do you expect them to run? Children run zigzag. They run hopping, lead.
The children run speedily.
Speedily, beautiful man, yes man. The children run speedily. Yes indeed, of course. And with that, of course, we'll give him his departure. I think he deserves that. Yeah, go ahead.
After this live, I will be commenting on the commenting list after this show. I will be saying nice things other than slimy. I was just going to say the first few letters of my user on YouTube. HP1. That's all I could tell all about. After I come off, I am going to be commenting after so.
Alright, so he has a quality control, so he has arrogated unto himself, he has taken on the responsibility of quality control for the corridor transformation. So the man is promoting himself, and that is good because he wants the program to, of course, to move from where it is to greater heights, so to speak. Remember we said we would look at 40,000 a night, so I suppose we are getting there. We have to do some tweaking and so on, but we will. Any parting words quickly apart from what you have indicated? Your task will be to look at the comments that other people are making. And of course, I suppose you'll have to do it in writing as well because you wouldn't be on the program to respond verbally. But go ahead.
If you still ask some questions on the live, I might answer them from the comments. To read my comments,
All right, okay, so you don't want to write, but you just want to observe the comments.
And to be honest, I just said hi in the comment section. So I just
all
said
right, okay, so
hi.
he started, but let him go on his device and do that. Bye-bye, son. See you later.
Stay in school.
Stay in school, all right.
Even though it is our Sunday.
All right. He's a bundle of fun. He's a bundle of fun. A bundle of fun. Yeah, I love him too bad. But that being as it may, of course, people, now that we are in let's say the cusp, or should I say the jaws of the Prime Minister's address to the United Nations. Of course, I want to say off the cuff, congratulations to her. She demonstrated a level of consistency that is rare for Trinidad and Tobago politicians. She didn't go there to impress anyone like Dr. Rowley did when he had the opportunity. And of course, he and his cohorts would tell lies about Trinidad and Tobago, and therefore paint a picture as if there is a sufficiency of acceptance of the socio-economic and psycho-cultural conditions in Trinidad and Tobago. Far from it. And we have been regaled. We have had dosage after dosage of that level of insincerity, and I say so without fear of contradiction, insincerity. Because at the end of the day, when you paint a picture that the economy is nice and that everything is going honky-dory, that the region should be, of course, free from any kind of what I consider to be hostilities. The term they use, of course, is a war-free zone. The Caribbean must be free from war. All of that. The current Prime Minister has made it very clear and unambiguous that, listen, that is a fallacy. That is a fantasy. That is not the reality of our Caribbean experience. Because the drug cartels and those engaged in human trafficking through the Caribbean Sea, where most of our islands touch, and incidentally, the only country I believe in the Caribbean that the Caribbean Sea doesn't touch, and I think Barbados as well, I think it is smack in the, if I'm not mistaken, in the Atlantic Ocean. So too, of course, is Guyana, which is part of South America, but is considered to be part and parcel because of our historical antecedent or our colonial past. We have been associated with, and vice versa, Guyana with us in terms of a region. But that being as it may, the fact of the matter is that the Prime Minister said that the region is at war, or put another way, the cartels and the drug smugglers and the human traffickers are at war with us, and therefore in that context we are at war, and therefore Trinidad and Tobago inclusive cannot be said to be, indeed the entire Caribbean region cannot be said to be peaceful. And I was taken aback when Dr. Rowley, coming out as he does, like a Zandoli, from whatever cave that he would have found himself in, or some underground tunnel that he would have emerged from, like a Zandoli, to talk about the Caribbean being a zone of peace, and somehow attempting, irrelevant as he is clearly, a husband as he is in fact, to tell us that somehow he was touted the Caribbean as a zone of peace, yet still it was he who signed, of course, the SOFA deal with the Americans. Don't forget that. He was the man who created a special session in Trinidad utilizing our money to project the fantasy, the illusion that crime and criminality must be seen as what? As a public health issue. Yes, we only did that. And of course, that was the man who presided over multiple and successive years of the highest crime rate in the country, particularly murders. It was the Prime Minister today at the United Nations General Assembly meeting that told the world that at one point in time we had over 600 murders, and at the same time, over a 10-year period, the amount of persons that would have been murdered tantamount to about 1% of Trinidad and Tobago's population. That is a serious indictment. Yet still Rowley had the audacity, the temerity, and the gall and the effrontery to open his bloody mouth when in fact he should keep his trap shut. And only because he has a hole in his face that is called a mouth or an orifice with vocal cords at the base, that he gives himself liberty to speak on these matters. He should shut up, get pip, as he would have introduced it in the local, what I consider to be political lexicon of Trinidad and Tobago. Let us not waste time. You call a regional seminar of heads to deal with crime as a what? As a public health issue. Yet at the same time, you have been indicted. You have been guilty of having since 2015, at least when you came into office, over 11 vessels that was deployed and acquired for the Coast Guards. Yes, I'm talking about the Damien vessels from the Netherlands. Yes, those vessels that we later would have, of course, been given information, whether factual, I shouldn't say factual, but whether it's through the grapevine or otherwise. The fact is that those vessels were not deployed and would have been sufficient to protect our porous borders as a what? As an island, one, and two, as a country that would be subjected to the invasion of those persons who have targeted, of course, the North, whether Canada, United States, but coming from South America, those drug cartels targeting those countries and moving through Trinidad and Tobago's waters and within the ambit of our maritime assets, maritime boundaries. We had that, and he paid no mind. It's only when they realized that the writing was on the wall and that they were being, of course, being prepared like lamb to the slaughter to be kicked out of office. You're hearing, of course, they're repairing this one, they're repairing that one. And when we were very knowledgeable and information reaching the population, that some of those boats were what? Down for what? Fuel. Fuel. And we had all kinds of convoluted stories by either George Young or Rowley himself, in terms of why it is that those boats were not being deployed to protect our maritime assets and to allow and to disallow or to protect Trinidad and Tobago from the entry of contraband from the Latin American or the mainland, I should say. Whether it's from Colombia, whether it's from any other of the Latin American countries, Peru. Fact of the matter is that the Rowley PNM administration were negligent and therefore they abdicated their responsibility to Trinidad and Tobago. So he has no moral, ethical, or even what I consider to be any kind of verbal authority to speak, because he had his turn and he did disastrously in terms of delivering to the people of Trinidad and Tobago security, our well-being, and the aversion of those harms that he would have perpetrated whilst in government on the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Let's go to the lines and let's say, yeah, I'm gonna put a phone to the mic because we are still in the same situation. A pleasant good night to welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Lennox.
Good night, my friend. Good night. Welcome.
Hey, long time I have called you, man.
Yes, man. Yes, man. You know, I'm there kicking and shaking and moving.
Good night, everybody in the chat. Good night. Right there.
Okay. All right. Yes.
Let me give me 2 cents about that what you talk about.
Go ahead.
My observation, my prediction,
Uh-huh.
that the reason why they didn't run them both, because to allow their contraband, drugs and ammunition to come into the country.
But my friend, that is a conclusion one has to draw, and you cannot escape that. It appears that it was an orchestrated plan to allow that to happen, and Rowley and they have some explanation to do if it is not so, to tell us why it is that those vessels were not earlier have a focus upon having regard to the problems that have saturated Trinidad and Tobago, and the measures that they would have took, including, of course, having a conference here of the leaders on the same subject. Yes, they have to explain, but go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, but so unallowed migrants from Venezuela to come in the country. That was a whole plan with Maduro. Whoever there was, I'm not putting words in my mouth to say that. Because what are you doing with this man? Because all this tragedy where he put, right, is his doing. And since he bring that and all these things in United States have to be in over there in the Caribbean, in Venezuela over there. It's his doing. It's nobody doing. It's nobody to blame Kamala for that. It's his doing, right? He allowed that to happen. How can a man protect his country and have no control running the water and up and down the shores that no birds will be coming through that order? You know what I mean? That's your job. You know? That you secure the country. And you refuse to do that. Therefore, you had something else going on with Maduro.
Of course, there must be.
So, right?
Yes.
So, another thing again,
Go ahead.
Mr. Lennox.
Yes.
Why is people criticizing Kamala, how she dressed and what she put on? I'm not talking about issue here.
Let them eat the hat out. Let them eat the hat out. Yeah, the jealous, that's all. Yeah.
Why is Penny is up there? When Kamala was opposition and Ronnie all about the place, how come he following him? Why she's up there? That's none of her business. Nobody does see her and talk to her. I don't want to see her. I don't want to hear her. You have nothing good to say. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So she is up there to do the people's business, not for show, not for luxury, not for dress and tell them to dress up and feel you in a runaway show. She's there for people business. Okay?
Yes, man.
And to help the country. Right? So I don't need the criticism of people are very, very low minded. Oh my gosh, man. You're so low minded to talk about the woman dress, the woman she dress, where she get that. What else people? I mean, come on. We don't have it here. We don't talk about nobody come from wild one state that could talk about the apparel. We don't talk about that. Talk about what they're gonna do to help your country.
Yes.
See? It's so shameful. What are we thinking about us? What are they thinking about the people trying to make we not only they live in the flat, but we live here too. What they will think about us? We're talking like that.
Mm-hmm.
Very shameful, Mr. Lennox.
Yes, yes,
Go
yes.
ahead, man, Lennox. I have to say that.
I understand. You ought to be angry because it is so petty and so frivolous and so puerile. Yeah.
Petty stuff that you talk about the woman dress. Oh, she paid $20,000. Paid this, paid that.
Yeah,
I've seen that comment on.
yeah, it just simply, if it wasn't so serious, I would say it was so damn hilarious, really. Sort of comic who commenting on, yeah. Yeah, irrelevant. Right. I have another caller on the other line. So, yes, man. Yes, thanks very much for calling. Thanks very much for calling, people. Of course, yeah, we have to do what we have to do. And let's go straight to the line. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yeah.
Yes, welcome to the corridor.
Martin inside.
Yeah, go ahead, Diego Martin. Sorry about the last few nights, but we had the children and them to deal with. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yes.
You're basically telling the younger ones what they have to do.
That's right.
It's what we basically are.
Yeah, there's a need for that. You see, many of the youths, particularly in what is considered to be underprivileged circumstance and the press community, they simply do not know. They have no mentors. The parents may not be as accurate with what has to be done in terms of their academic development and the overall development, and therefore they need some kind of guidance. And I think this is a wonderful platform from which to edify both elements, the parents as well as the children. And I think only commendations could come out of that. I trust that those who are in authority are taking heed and would want to emulate and of course expand. But go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Right. A couple of things. And I have plenty to upload.
Yes.
Another station identified the work ethic of Jack Warner.
Yes.
And what they alluded to is the acting prime minister has the same work ethic. That is Jolene.
Mm-hmm.
And congratulations to her on her elevation. And people have to understand Jolene John is one of the longest serving minister and well, I can't say she's in between, but she was in the party cabinet. She was the boat and transport. So 1995 to now, like 20 years, right?
Yes.
20 years.
Yes.
So meritocracy, hard work gets you where you are. And a lot of people have not understood that as yet. So if Jerry John is a clone of Jack Warner, we have 13 Judases who took the country down a particular road and remained silent. Don't you think they are clone of O'Halloran from their disposition and from their alleged corrupt behavior? Every one of them, I am hearing bundles. Some of the family had a lot of people contracts. Don't talk to penny and nonsense.
Yeah.
And penny and nonsense going on a parallel mission to New York City. She was special Prime Minister told everybody that we are in a war zone.
Mm-hmm.
Every day we have to lock ourselves inside and dodge bullets. And they can't understand that 26 is twice as 13. You understand?
Yes.
13 is basically collected the 13 pieces of silver from the national purse. And people have to understand we are in this current position that karma has chosen a leader to get us out of this demise. And everything they attempt to do has failed miserably.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to come back and then look, for example, if you look at the Coast Guard, you mean it's keeping boats under the eyes of the Coast Guard. So it looked like the Coast Guard was sleeping just like the sea. So these people were waiting for 50 people, the commanders in the Coast Guard were sleeping, and they removed all the boats that were basically held for evidence. I mean to say, if that is a total collapse of national security, and again, what are we seeing in the police service?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of misbehavior. I'm reading an article today that Sojan Jacob said he's the one who gave permission for the CPI to go to abduct Thomas. But I don't know if he has sense or he has no sense. The fact that he gave permission, he don't have the authority to leave, so somebody has to advise him, and he has to tell us who gave him permission to give the CPI. And if nobody gave him position, that is what you call silver braces and blue lights. You see it in public office.
Yes.
You understand? These people, something is wrong with them, you know. Look. KCR has 50 million for entertainment, right?
Yes.
In the last budget.
Mm-hmm.
Our current Prime Minister went to United Nations thing, and she read Fuji. Apparently, they asked to see how much she spent and all kind of things. She had to that is how she was money, and she just said, when she was Prime Minister the first time, they attack her for a boat. See on a brand style. I mean, if people have to ask CPR what he gave us for spending $50 million, we want to take home. In a short 3-4 months, she brought movie, and movie have given us a lot of things to help our country, because the current government agenda is people-centered. So they got a lot of things, medical supplies, Alex machine. She's going to the United Nations, and a grant of 94 is a grant there. And she says she's going to give all the fire stations some tenders. That is how you show your actions is louder than words. You do things to help the people. What did KCL do for his 50 million budget? He went Ghana to bring back yam. Is that telling what he did? He went to bring yam, and the yam every I hear he went with the Guardian passenger and then come back. He could have taken yam from it. 2 drugs. I'm going to have a nice time.
I hear you, my friend. I hear you, my friend. Well said, well said. But of course, the people, the whole question of making reference to her, the clothing that she wore, and she was correct. I had cause to read a comment from her in response to what I consider to be the nonsensical commentary on her wear and the cost, I believe it was. And she made it very, very clear that it had nothing to do with government. But I suspect that those who would have been commenting, people like Rowley, I suspect that he would have used state resources in order to furnish his wardrobe. But she didn't do that. And therefore she was categoric in terms of her insistence that she works for her money, just as I work for mine, and you would work for yours, and you choose to spend it how you wish, just as of course how she has the right to choose what to spend her money on. And of course, as we know now that she's getting what, $87,000 a month. So why not? Of course, that was courtesy at a time when we could have least afford it, Rowley, because he knew he was going out of office and wanted, of course, to enrich himself, whilst, of course, in retirement, and at the same time, knowing full well that his entire administration and his tenure as prime minister was plagued, was saturated, was imbued with corruption, nepotism, cronyism, misbehavior in public office, and abuse of office. Let's not waste time. Quite apart, of course, from the incompetence, the impotence, and the prolific misuse of public resources in terms of misappropriation, both in terms of financial and in terms of policies and programs, that always at the beginning would have had some kind of optimism, of course only nestled and projected by them whilst in office. But when one evaluates the input versus output, quality for money, they have found themselves invariably wanting, every time. So they have no moral, ethical, any decency to express such concern. But whilst that was being expressed, and I having, of course, to read that kind of diatribe, I want to tell you as well that my mind went right back to when Rowley, unprepared, having attended, of course, a summit, I think was in Canada, when the Canadian Prime Minister was supposed to summarize and issue some kind of communique, as is usual in these high-level discussion, bilateral, international, and of course multilateral. And he was totally unprepared. And he went there getting with a blazer or something like that, and then tell us that he, embarrassingly, of course, embarrassing for us, embarrassing for him, he said he was on his way to the airport when he was called upon. No, but here it is. The current Prime Minister was poised. She was prepared. She was, while being eclectic, meaning that she was to the point, and she was concise. She made it very, very clear, because that is what it is all about, that the Caribbean is in a state of war. Contrary, of course, to the utterances of, I don't know if he spoke before or she spoke before or after, or there might have been some, she might have spoken betwixt both of them. I'm talking about, of course, the prime ministers of St. Vincent and that of Barbados, Motley, and that of St. Vincent, Ralph Gonzalez. But they spoke about the Caribbean being a zone of peace. And I don't think that they have reached the level that Kamala Persad-Bissessar, our Prime Minister, understands the region and the context in which she has declared, or she has confirmed, or that she felt compelled to treat with the matter as one of war with the drug cartels and those who are prepared to engage, of course, in human trafficking, and then at the same time leave their poison in the Caribbean as they make their way to make their Yankee or greenback dollars in the north. Of course, Trump has a different methodology that is now being executed in the Southern Caribbean at this point in time. But let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the Caribbean. Welcome to the welcome to the corridor. But of course, in the Caribbean, yes. Hello?
Yeah, Dr. Lennox.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, Dr. Lennox, you hear me, good?
Loud and clear, my friend.
Right. Oh,
I'm going to tell a Caribbean man like you, welcome to the Caribbean. But welcome to the corridor.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So here's what I'm able to puzzle here with CARICOM.
Yeah, go ahead.
CARICOM, now on 3 papers, don't interfere with the zone of peace. You hear me?
Yeah. On paper. Repeat that.
CARICOM don't interfere with the zone of peace. Do we have any zone of peace in the CARICOM?
Well, that would seem to be the
No,
notion of
if
some
you take your mind
leaders.
back when Rowley was Prime Minister and they had the CARICOM meeting,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they were talking about these high-profile guns that are banned.
Right.
All the CARICOM nations, right?
Yeah.
The high-power guns are banned. They were singing one tune when they had that meeting here.
Yes.
And it is a health issue. You remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. They converted it to a public health disaster.
A
Yes.
public
Yes.
health
Yes.
issue.
Mhm.
These people are, I don't know, Dr. Lennox, these people are, you know, when you talk about, I don't know how to describe Mia Motley and Ralph Gonzalez. These are the same people in this CARICOM meeting and they were talking about all these guns and things. They were aware of what was taking place here. I know everybody changed the tune. We are dealing with real issues here. We are the highest, second highest, third highest murders in this country. And all of that attributed to that demise of our young people. So how come they will come now and say this kind of hogwash? Caribbean can't be a zone of peace when we have this kind of problem in this country. Right?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes. Yes. Well, yeah. I'm hearing you and I'm taking you on. I'm listening to you with undivided attention. Go ahead.
So how come in one breath you are saying that leave the Caribbean zone of the CARICOM Islands don't have any similar problems? Not so.
Yeah.
So what games are they playing?
I'll give you my assessment when you would have completed your presentation.
Yeah, but somehow I get them a little break up, so I feel I should come.
All right. Okay then.
Somehow I get them a little break up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I got the gist of your concern. Yeah. Of course, the caller has raised a very valid point, and that is to say, it is farcical. It is almost nonsensical to talk Caribbean being a zone of peace by leaders who themselves have had some tremendous concern with the whole question of drugs and contraband plying through our waters and within their own borders, and of course in areas that may not consider to be borders but neutral ground, if you want to call that, outside of their borders in other words. But the fact is that all of them are on record saying that crime and criminality has exponentially increased in their respective territories, largely because of the very issue that Kamala Prasad Bisesa, our Prime Minister, has raised, and that Trump, with no cost to the Caribbean countries who could ill afford that amount of assets to be deployed only for the purpose of curbing, if not eliminating, that wicked, dangerous, and destructive trade. And Kamala Prasad Bisesa made it very clear that, and she made reference to Haiti and the whole question of gang and gang warfare and the threat to democratically elected government. She said that. And of course, she commended, just as I think Motley did as well, but for I would say for a different reason, technically. When, of course, she identified Kenya and the Caribbean being grateful for taking the initiative to try to generate some semblance of peace by putting a Peace Corps inside of Haiti in order to generate some level of peace and security there. And the normalcy, of course, the situation as it stands is far from normal. And she also, of course, commended, I think it was Panama, or in Panama, that Panama Accord to treat with, of course, a special force to try to bring some semblance of normalcy to Haiti. And of course, all of us know the historical antecedent. All of us know the significance of Haiti in terms of liberation, in terms of independence, in terms of sovereignty, and of course, the victimization that Haiti got as a result of being the first mono-African country liberating itself and managing its own affairs in times when, of course, the colonial powers of Europe felt that they were at the top of their game. They were at the apex of their game. And who are these Africans to, of course, declare and fought for their independence, and of course, in order to keep them, what I consider to be stable, or give them some semblance of stability, even though they were undermining, talking about these European countries, including the United States, at one point in time, simply because they could have none of it. That here it is, a European power was beaten in the Caribbean, and of course relieved of their so-called colonial ill-gotten asset, Haiti. That is what Toussaint Louverture and others symbolizes to the African diaspora that ended up, of course, occupying the Caribbean. And of course, that message would have gone even to the motherland, talking about Africa here, and every other country in the world that would have experienced, of course, slavery in the way that the West Indies have experienced it. So, the significance of Haiti cannot escape us. We must be able to acknowledge that fact. And of course, being but the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere is another indictment to all of us, but more so countries like Canada, the United States, where, of course, one could say they are among the G7, and therefore one of the richest, and of course we can distinguish the United States as the richest country in the world, of course, having regard to its monolithic size of its arsenal and economy, and yet still, almost on its doorsteps, Haiti is there struggling as my mother would say, the least of the apostles. Kamala Prasad Bisesa mentioned that in her address. Of course, no Caribbean leader worth its salt and given a podium such as United Nations General Assembly would not have worth his or her salt if they didn't mention something about Haiti. But the level of sincerity, I think, would have been eroded. Not totally, but would have been downgraded when, of course, the question of Venezuela was ignored. That's what transpired there. The question of Venezuela was ignored. And of course, giving as a replacement the superficial, superfluous, amorphous, and devoid of reality, the whole question of a zone of peace. while at the same time, every single one of these countries that would have spoken, reeling from the impact and the effects of the drug cartels plying the Caribbean Sea, and of course engaging in the poison or in the poisoning of our respective populations. That is hypocrisy. And while I am not the type to get involved, because I love all of them, they are Caribbean neighbors and Caribbean leaders and so on, but I think that you have to call a spade at the appropriate time. And Kamala Prasad-Bissessar was correct to say to the United States, well done, and of course we continue to support your fight for the deliverance of the Caribbean from the hands of these narcotic tycoons who have raided and who have infiltrated and who have deposited their poison in the respective countries. And she's speaking for all of the Caribbean, in spite of those who didn't have the vesticular and the testicular fortitude to, of course, call a spade, because somehow they are in a nostalgic mood and saying, well, listen, Petro-Caribbean, that they cannot forget, of course, that the Venezuelans would have used their prolific oil reserve to assist these countries at one time, which would have been energy starved. But there comes a time when, of course, the issue of human rights violation, the issue of starving your population, the issue of undermining your democratic principles and internationally accepted standards of elections, and standing by the consequences. In other words, you cannot sit as a Caribbean leader and promote dictatorial and autocratic leadership to the point to where in one country, Venezuela, of the 27 million people that are their citizens, over 7 million have, of course, left and migrated into, of course, neighboring countries, including Trinidad and Tobago, and those countries where the prime ministers neglected that reality. To me, that's a travesty. That is, of course, a neglect and a dereliction of duty and responsibility to what I consider to be the indigenous population of the respective nations that would have found themselves on that international stage at the United Nations in New York. I say so without fear of contradiction. And I say so at the level of the grassroots who are looking on, and I'm sure when you see this particular live, you would know that, of course, we are conscious, and those of you who have a conscience are the ordinary Joe, the ordinary resident or citizen of the respective countries of the Caribbean archipelago. Yes, from Jamaica in the north to Trinidad and Tobago in the south. And in between, of course, whether it be St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Dominica, Barbados, inclusive, of course, of that of Dominica, the St. Kitts, Nevis, the Virgin Isles, all of us, all of them, we must be unanimous in terms of the cowardice position and the unrealistic utterances that recently was delivered at the United Nations to our respective countries' detriment. If you cannot level with the population and tell the international community we need help. Help of the type that the United States is providing as we speak. And I want, of course, Trinidad and Tobago to feel proud that we have a prime minister who took the opportunity, and I'm sure that they are engaged in post her presentation in discussions across the board with those countries, whether from the Middle East, or whether from Europe, or whether from North America. And I'm sure there might have been a sprinkling of other Latin American countries, so as to bring focus on Trinidad and Tobago, having regard to the fact that we were so badly treated, and our external, or should I say foreign and CARICOM policies have been so badly conceived and executed. And these are people who were there before, whether it be Apron Brown, or Rowley, or Ibisbert, or Stuart Young, have the temerity to stand and to suggest that somehow that Kamala Prasad Bisesa, the current prime minister of this country, is doing something wrong. I say, haul all your tails and get out of our faces. You are unpatriotic. And to me, that is treason if you are of a different view. Here it is that the Americans have deployed their own resources, a massive. I cannot even fathom, nor you, the cost of bringing these warships to these parts, of bringing a nuclear submarine, of bringing fighter jets, now based, of course, in Puerto Rico, to bring to bear, and therefore the potential for eliminating that scourge, that drugs, drug cartel, guns, illegal, and ammunition, that has created the shambolic state of affairs, have contributed significantly to the shambolic state of affairs in Trinidad and Tobago. I say to the government, go right ahead. The poor, the downtrodden, and the defenseless would applaud you. History will record the significant statement that was made on an international forum, no other than that of the United Nations. And there could be nothing better than that. There could be nothing more superlative than that. There could be nothing that is greater than that. And especially in the context of Trinidad and Tobago. I see that we were able to get some $90-something million as a grant from the Chinese. I think it was negotiated before she left, and I think it was consummated at the United Nations. I know that there were several bilateral talks to be convened at the side of that United Nations General Assembly meeting. I'm trying to get, of course, the information as far as those countries that were supposed to be engaged by Trinidad and Tobago. So it's a seriously working trip in order to what? To bring back some economic semblance to Trinidad and Tobago. Do not forget that it was the PNM government under Rowley that inherited over $12 billion in reserve, and by the time they left office on the 28th of April 2025, we only had about $4 billion. Don't forget it was the Rowley administration that met over $5 billion in the Heritage and Civilization Fund, and of course up to today we don't know what was taken out, and then had the audacity, the temerity to hoodwink, to gaslight, and to pretend that somehow they were able to recover and be at the same 5 billion, not telling us, or put another way, insulting our intelligence by telling us that the money that they met in 2015 has now, of course, somehow it was regained, it was augmented, when in fact that is still outstanding. And the only reason why we are not paying the price for it is because it was our sovereign money, our sovereign fund, that was attacked in that way by the Rowley administration, and therefore there is no obligation to repay. Otherwise, that would have been added to the debt that they incurred, having met, of course, in 2015, a debt to GDP ratio of about 44%, and by the time they left there, it was about, talking about on the 18th of April, we are talking about something in the vicinity of 95% debt to GDP. They borrowed and borrowed and borrowed and borrowed more than any other administration. Yet still they were telling us that, listen, they are there because they could do more with less. And that, of course, that they could not honor their commitment to the civil servants and to those agreements that were part and parcel of the collective bargaining process that Trinidad and Tobago, as a law-abiding nation and living up to the rule of law, we have seen an indiscipline, ill discipline, and of course a lawless government in place, led by Rowley, and later very ephemeral or temporarily that of George Young. I want to say at this point, of course, the line is open. Trust that I'm not over 9:30 as yet. Let me take off my glasses to make sure. Yes, so we are 23 minutes past. So the line is open still for those who wish to make their comment. But let me say at this point, congratulations to Jolene John, acting Prime Minister. I think she deserves it. I think you have to give commendation to the substantive Prime Minister, Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, for that choice. You see, she left her people hoping that it would have been Barry Padarat. Yes. But she was smart enough not to leave him. She took him with her. And then, of course, she left the most appropriate individual. And why is it appropriate in all respects? Well, I know that some people would have liked to see an Indian person remain there. I know that. I'm not, of course, looking in the context of race, but I have to be pragmatic. Yes, you were looking for an Indian to be there because, of course, all over the place are those who are so inclined and biased in their disposition would be saying that look at the composition of the boards, and of course you have people like Marvin Gonzalez talking about what? About he thought he was in Bangladesh when he see the composition of boards. It is only natural that an Indian-based government will have a greater balance that has been demonstrated over the years while in government. Because one can easily slip and or transfer the boots on the other foot and say, why is the piano was in government? You could swear that, you know what, Biafra, Nigeria, yes, or Senegal, yes, you say that. So let us not harp on those trivialities. You see, because I told someone today, apart from my philosophical position on the matter similar to that of Martin Luther King and the people like, of course, Indira Gandhi and others, including, of course, the late, great President of the United States. I'm talking about, of course, Kennedy. These people would have, of course, left what I consider to be sage comments, or should I say maxim, the axiomatic statements that live true to today. Because when injustice occurs anywhere, it is a threat to justice everywhere. That is what they said. When injustice occurs anywhere, it is a threat to justice everywhere. What do I mean in the context of Trinidad and Tobago? I'm saying to you that over and over, a political price will be paid if, while in government, a particular party or group of parties, as the case is with the coalition of interests, that are clear, pellucid, conspicuous, indivisible act or acts, it shows that there is an impurity of what? Of justice. Impurity of justice, yes. Another term to simply mean injustice. Impurity of justice. That in such circumstances, over time, justice levels off like how water finds its own level. Just as how water finds its own level, people. So I am not perturbed about those who are anxious. Take your time. It will come. Ultimately. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Hey, good night. Loud and clear. I hear another call coming in, boy. But go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead. Went where? Where she went? Well, she probably have friends there. I know. Remember she was the ambassador?
You remember when you were chief dissident started to carry on about Kamala and she used to tell them, do so much for you.
Yeah.
And only holding on to my frog tail.
Yes.
But the taxi following Kamala, she was Mazuriel.
Well, I could offer a postulation as to why she would have gone. You see, because it's no different to the PNM playbook. When Manning wanted to be prime minister badly, he used to go uninvited into Diwali, Naga ceremonies and so on, and say that this is Trinidad and Tobago and so on. Yeah. So that is one of the playbook. You see, a fellow like me is never amazed as to what the PNM will do, because they would have done it before. So it's easy to make references and to, of course, bring people to that realization that the entire thing is just to show that she went up there too, and therefore why she could not have said anything on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago's government or otherwise. The mere fact that she went there would have been good political, as far as they're concerned, fodder for local consumption. But they don't understand as yet that the people are much more aware, they are much more conscious, and therefore that exercise will be one in futility. Whosoever paid for that trip, because I see that they have some friends in New York and so on. Obviously, she would have had some friends because she would have been there for some time as the ambassador. but of course, it cannot change the price of coffee, so to speak. But go ahead.
And as you're talking about paying for the trip,
Yeah.
you be more asking Kamala who pay for that.
Who pay for the outfit?
For the outfit, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Well,
These people
Kamala
got mad.
pay, please. The way you feel, that was like when there was in power, and they had this church open, anybody want to say, one take. Eh?
Well, I would have put it a different way, no? I would have said that Kamala hand them out like them. Because when they came into office, they had nothing, and when they went out, of course, the belt tightening that they told us to engage, well, they bust the belt.
Well, boy, they get surprised because them so accustomed seeing the money lying around all over the place.
Yes, yes, yes.
And they could have taken up what they want and use it anytime they want.
Yeah.
So, as you will always say, and is the truth, so a man think it so he,
That's right.
so he feel cannot take up money from the hand.
Yeah, they seen others that which is in them. That's what happened. So it tells me from that statement that Rowley was using state resources to pay for every damn thing, all the trips, all the clothes, and everything. There's nothing. A brunch in the diplomatic center or the prime minister's residence in Tobago, state had to pay for it, and even on an election campaign, I remember in the local government, I think it was, yes, the last one gone, when of course the fanatic or the supporter of the PNM in St. James started to disrupt the meeting by saying that well, we just lie. The next thing I know, he calls, of course, a meeting with the prime minister, but everybody inside of there have on red clothes, including him. While of course they recruit professional from, I suppose, the public service to make the introduction, saying it's a prime ministerial discussion. First they are cowards, and first they are abusive of the resources of it. Imagine, and I made the point. Imagine I gone in there with love colors, or somebody going in there with CUPS colors, or the UNC colors, or any other of the party's colors. You will institute, or you would have attracted a riot. But that's state money.
You come there looking for that?
Yeah, that's state money. The point I'm making is, if you're saying that you're meeting the population as prime minister, then everybody is entitled. But no, use state resources and only people in red you're seeing. What is that? And they have the audacity to talk now about even to suggest that people are similar to them. They see in others that which is in them. No, people have higher standards and values and principles. Go ahead.
So the local election will come in and put money going on New Zealand.
I would expect that. Of course, but that doesn't mean that all is a fait accompli. Let me put it that way. We have to continue to work to demonstrate the budget. The budget is the first test. Let me put it that way. And of course, the rolling out subsequent to the budget is another phase, because I can tell you, right around here, people who I expected to be a little more what I consider to be tolerant, that is now reaching, the zenith point. Yeah. Okay.
But they're going beyond man.
Yeah, but generally, I think they have gone berserk. Yeah.
All right, if I get some colors, just so never come off.
All right. Let's see what's happening. Yes. All right, my friend. I have another caller on the other line. Anything else? All right. So here's God. All right. Let me see if I get caller call back. Sorry about that. I know you're calling on the other line. So call back. that line that I normally reserve for contacts and so on, we could call that one tonight. So we're going to use both lines, 337-6940, as well as the other one, which of course is 337 56, is this? No, 337 65, is it? Let me make sure. I want to have it, yes. Yes, yeah. So 336 6594. That's the other one you can call. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Let me say good night to you, Lennox Smith.
Good night to you, my friend.
Yo, are you hearing me good?
If what?
Are you hearing me clear?
Loud and clear now, man. Talk a little louder, that's all, because we have a primitive system here. I can't get people on the system, so I have to find a way to get all you, man. Right.
I know. So let me say, what on with the program on the going put on
we'll be on tomorrow. Andy was a bit under the weather, and we thought we will take the opportunity because it's a cost to have a sudden substitute for over an extended period, and we thought we should suspend things that last week, and then of course resume tomorrow. Most likely, I will be on for the better part of it if Andy feels well. He sounds good, but I don't think he's totally 100%. But these things happen. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, let me start with some of the best and whatever.
Yes.
It is. Let me start with some of the best. But I want to say this is the first thing I want to say that I love how our Prime Minister look on the world stage.
Yes.
I think that she represents Trinidad and Tobago well.
Yeah.
It was a fresh air, fresh eye to see that the leader or the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago represent in that kind of manner, and I know still how she meeting the Crown Prince. I'm a follower at the Crown Prince, and most of all, her words, her statement on the world stage was for Trinidad and Trinidad alone, Trinidad and Tobago alone.
Yeah, that was magnificent. Trinidad's interest, yes.
It was a class. Today, the crown, the crown cake from the Prime Minister of Barbados, and they announced Kamala as the mother of the Caribbean. Think they say it first. Anybody else say it, they say it after. Today, we used to look at that good lady from Barbados. What a disgrace. What a disgrace to the Caribbean today. What a disgrace to the Caribbean today. And my problem is why everybody who are against our country's policy, the opposition, hugging them up. I have a problem with that on the world stage. You go on, the opposition go on over there. So, I want to know if that is treason. I want to know if that is treason. Because how could you dare turn your back on this country for political mileage? I have a serious problem to know that. We are making Trinidad rich again. We are making Trinidad healthy again. We are making Trinidad great again. We are making Trinidad wealthy and safe again. You want to cover up the enemies who are against our country. We know this man from St. Vincent. We know who the Caribbean leaders that leave the country and go to Venezuela. I have a certain man here to be with them. That is the MJ leader. We know who has good for Venezuela. This regime, me, Kingsley, I do not support Nicolas Maduro agenda and its policy. I do not support it. I cannot support it. lady went and said we had to fight fire with fire, I clapper. The right thinking people, because we're on the right. We're on the right side. It's simple. It's common sense to run the world. It's common sense running Trinidad and Tobago. So when Oyo went and voted for Kamala, what do you think Kamala was for? What do you think Kamala did not have money? What do you think she was? An Indian from Barco? And she have nothing? What is the problem? The woman has to go looking on she best. Because your image. We can remember when Dr. Rowdy went and meet the Prime Minister from Canada, some poor girl, he went with that, there's a coat show on him. There's a coat show on him. Means nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with buying a proper schools because Kamala is a celebrity. She's a Prime Minister. She politics long. She has some money. She's a high-profile figure in the world and in this country. So she has to look the way she look. And she has to spend the kind of money to look the way she want to look. You think Trump shirt cheap? You think he tuxedo cheap? You think he just be wearing it cheap? You think cheap? But I have no problem with that. And to see Smith again, you see the opposition hugging up the Caribbean leaders who are against this country. It hurts me. It hurts me dearly. You know what? I'm a patriot. And we have a problem. Not because Trump's in it, though. We have a problem in the Caribbean where Colombians, Venezuelans bringing their guns and their drugs, and Trinidad is paying the backlash for it today. Why is that plenty? Long Smith, as I said again, you know right now, weed growing up in the communities and them. I can tell you that it's hard to get weed. Them boys, them balling, weed going up. It is expensive because drugs ain't coming in the way it was coming in before under the last 9 years. It's tight to get these things
and we have to extend that to guns and ammunition as well.
Yes, you are right. And to see that certain individuals, because Trump saying it and Kamala saying it, they want to be against America, against Trinidad. But okay, I will not say that again as I close. The CARICOM and the Caribbean do not speak for Trinidad and Tobago. Our head of state, our head of our country is who represent our country, Trinidad and Tobago. None of the Caribbean leaders speak for we. I want to make it clear to the citizens of this country, Trinidad could stand on their own. We are small America. Don't get tapped with it, you know. Look, we still like a small America. Those are the Guyana, you know. Yes, Guyana up there. Trinidad and Guyana right now running competition. Those are about Babylon. Only thing Babylon them have is nice tourism, place and things. But all we can go, all we snacks, all we soft drinks, we bricks, we cement, we gravel, we pitch. Every single thing the Caribbean countries buying from we. And they don't know what it. It's up to them. It's up to them. They don't know what it, but we depending on the Middle East. We depending on America for the next 5 years. For the next 5 years, we don't want nothing from the Caribbean. We going where it has the trillions of dollars. We going where we know that our refinery could be fixed and working again. The woman with the crown prince. The woman with the crown prince. You know, can go on there. You know, can I take it up on there? You know what? And they could sign some agreement. They could sign there. You know what could take place there? The woman meeting world leaders, permanent key figures. Not like the last 9 years. You're going to see world leaders coming out for the next 5 years. You'll never see no major world leaders come here. I know she's going to meet official before she come back home. I know I want you to meet the Secretary of State, Mark Rubio. I hope she meet he because he close to Trump. He very close to Trump, and I hope she meet he. I hope they fight hard and they lobby for a meeting with he before they leave America because he is a key figure going forward. Going forward, the Secretary of State of America is a key figure. Mark Rubio, going forward, that Kamala Harris could meet and could deal serious trade and serious business with all kinds of, and I'm hoping that to see in these 4 or 5 years, we see a president of the United States come in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm hoping to see, I call him, people hate me for calling him that, but I call him the world president, Donald J. Trump, coming to Trinidad and Tobago.
I hear you, my friend.
For that.
Yes.
So, last minute, I want to thank you very much for giving me this. Marike, answer me the link. So I say, let me come on the link one time because you don't send me the link about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah,
so
thank you very much. Thank you very much, of course, for that intervention. And of course, we very appreciate it. And you're welcome, my friend. And of course, because we have a lot of work to do still. All right? So that was our good friend Kingsley. Let's go to the next slide. Boy, it is getting later, so I need to play a little thing from that. I'll play an excerpt from the United Nations address of our Prime Minister. I need to do that out of duty tonight, and then tomorrow night I'll start with it after, of course, we would have had the children's segment exhausted. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night to welcome Mr. Faizabad.
A pleasant good night to you, Uncle Lennox, and to all your listeners.
Yes.
It's once a greeting. But Uncle Lennox,
Yes.
in all sundry, I ask everybody to drop a little kakada so that you can
Yeah,
keep
we need it even more so
nurture
now,
the
boy.
youths,
Yes.
and to nurture them, the youths in the environment around Port of Spain, and give them that opportunity. So yesterday, when you asked them, what is Republic, I was just trying to tell them the free democracy to talk and to make laws
I hear you.
for themselves.
I hear you. But I have to tell them that's an answer that they would not have been taught. But go ahead. Yes.
Right, but if so, now I will talk to the bigger children tonight because apparently if a reporter,
Uh-huh.
he would like to know what my Prime Minister went and what it cost. So I would like to use your program to tell them that the panty she went, Gregory, buy that in the thrift shop, right? And the brassiere, what she just wear, he get that by a discount on the side of the road, clearance sale.
I hear you.
And the dress she wearing, she nanny, give she that as an inheritance.
Yes, all right,
But
I hear
want
you.
to ask-
I hear you. All that
I
is
want to ask
permissible.
Yeah, and I want to ask Penny Beckers, how much things she nanny give she and she family when she was in government, right? And they're talking about, Akash talking about the Venezuelan and USA in the Southern Caribbean.
Yes.
Yeah, I want them to hear to tell Akash Samaru that Donald Trump is not too far from where our political leader and Prime Minister, Ms. Kamala Harris, will be tomorrow. So he can ask that question directed to Mr. Trump, right? Or Mark Rubio. Than the speculated over here in Trinidad and asking everything what the attack like fire at full force. But here what's going on? Now Gonzal, right? He in America and he take between the leg. All of them could go and ask Mark Rubio why they had the ship in the West and the Southern Caribbean. And there is about peace. But you see, when you have money in your pocket, Uncle Lennox, you have plenty friends, you know. And as your money remains down to the last 25 cents, then better, you better hold on to it because you would have no friends. And that is what's going on. with Tito Rowley and the last PNM. Now, they're seeing all the misconduct in public office.
Yes.
They just try to do
I hope you see me, Mr. Silver Fox. I know you're on the line there, but I have Mr. Faizabad. I'm sure that he's winding up now. Go ahead. Yes, stay on the line, Mr. Silver Fox. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, then let me give it to Mr. Fox. I'll give it. Good night.
All right. Okay, then. Thanks. Yes. All right. While she was saying that, of course, maybe he said it too late. So, Mr. Silver Fox, Tobago call, of course, we always welcome the Tobago callers in a special way. But before I go further, let me just get a little excerpt of the presentation of the Honorable Prime Minister in Washington at the United Nations. I think I will do no justice if I did not, of course, play
by Her Excellency Kamla Persad Bisesar.
All right, I have to pause. But of course, you heard the introduction by the chairman of the session. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to come on when certain people come on this program, you know.
All right, no problem.
Let me say something,
Yeah.
Some of us walk with Camilla, our honorable. Some of us talk with her.
Yes.
And some of us pretend that we're for her, but some of them are snake in the grass.
Okay.
Right? And every man supposed to know themselves. Because I am telling you, I just hear the comments of certain kind of people.
Uh-huh.
And then after that, you're hearing comments like, she was that, she's that, this, and she's that. But then, you don't even understand you're bringing down your own self. Right? And something we have to study right now. You see, this Rowley man, don't give up, you know. Don't give up on that fella, you know. We have to keep watching that fella. If in God's name or in any thought that we make PNM come back in Trinidad and Tobago, I am telling you, from my feeling, that man wants to be president. He wants to do like Robinson. We have to be careful in Trinidad and Tobago. We have to keep our eyes open and our ears listening to everything. We have to change our pattern. We have to be sensible. And I'm asking you all in this election coming up in Trinidad, give UNC, give them the borough, and I'm calling on Tobagonians now, with the election coming up in December, give back the power to who have it right now. We have to stop PNM. They will do anything to win, and we will not survive under these people anymore. Right now, you raise a penny, and you see, we have to, penny is a good thing. Trinidad and Tobago do a penny a day. We have 5 cents and 10 cents and 25 cents. So we're done with penny. She cannot win no election in this Trinidad and Tobago. She own supporters is saying that even in Tobago. And we will stand up and vote against PNM. And PNM must relegate to the dustbin of politics. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Harsh but realistic words from Tobago. And indeed, of course, he's a person cut from a cloth that I believe I'm cut from as well, because that's my exact sentiments. But let's go to the United Nations now.
Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, I request protocol to escort Her Excellency and invite her to address the Assembly.
So there we have it, of course. The Prime Minister is on her way to the podium to address, of course,
Thank
the
you all
United
very
Nations.
much. Thank you.
I think it's the 60th session of the United Nations General Assembly.
Madam President, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, friends. It is an honor for me, on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago, to address this assembly on the 60th anniversary of the United Nations. I congratulate you, Madam President, on your election, and I thank your predecessor for his service. Madam President, I'm very happy to see the escalator actually worked today. And I'm very happy to see the teleprompter is also working. So as I address you, thank you all very, very much. So I've had some blessings coming to the UN today. The UN has been much more than diplomacy. It is a lifeline to many countries, bringing education to classrooms, care to clinics, recovery to villages, and growth to fragile economies. On this milestone anniversary, we must face a very hard truth. The spirit of multilateralism is under strain, the effects of which has begun to undermine the foundations of stability and peace. Trinidad and Tobago confronts conflicts that seriously threaten our stability and peace. The notion that the Caribbean is a zone of peace has become a false ideal. The reality is, stop. No such peace exists today. For too many in our region, peace is not daily life, but an elusive promise, glimpsed and never grasped. In its absence, our citizens pay a terrible toll. In 2024, for example, Trinidad and Tobago, a tiny nation in the Caribbean of 1.4 million persons, we recorded 623 murders in 1 year last year. 41%, 100,000. That's about 40%, and many of them are gang-related. So the reality is, being a zone of peace is still an elusive dream that we're pursuing. In the last 25 years, we have had over 10,000 murders, which is equivalent to losing 1% of our adult population. Across Latin America and the Caribbean.
Of course, we'll have to stop here. We'll continue tomorrow night. My apology for having to pause here, but it's now what? It's now what? No. 9 or 1 minute to or 10 minutes to, whatever it is. We have gone past, of course, 9:30, and therefore, of course, don't forget tomorrow morning the ground report, Andy, Mike, and myself, as we continue, of course, with these and other issues. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow night when, of course, we will play the entire presentation. It's pretty short, but I like the dress. I like the dress. I like the dress that she has. Let them eat the heart out. Them be concerned about the substance and the quality of the presentation. Them studying she dress. I think they are buffoons. So let them eat the heart out. Our Trinidad and Tobago will be the beneficiary of the initiatives that would have been taken by the Honorable Prime Minister and, of course, the delegation. And we look forward with bated breath, of course, for the manifestation of the many goodies that she will come back with as a consequence of her visit to the United States and her presentation at the United Nations. See you tomorrow night. God bless, but don't forget, of course, tomorrow morning the ground report. We start at 6 o'clock and end at night. Yeah, we revert back to 9 o'clock simply because we don't have Gael. All right, have a wonderful one. Bye bye. Let me just we should we end with strong woman, or should we end as per usual? I think we should do it. It's Sunday, and we normally, of course, have this religious aspect of it that we focus upon on Sunday. I'm not seeing the clip that will, of course, invite me, and I don't want to play something that might stick. So let's go back to singing Sandra and what she said in the beginning about women. I think Kamala Prasad Bisesa probably is the epitome of people rising from insults and misogynic statements and all kinds of what I consider to be ridicule that she was subjected to, and with good people on her side, people like myself and the Ground Report, and at times some people in, some people out, but all of that would have contributed to where the UNC and the coalition of interest is today. Have a wonderful one, and bye-bye.
That is why he willingly supported the International Security Alliance announced by U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio involving the U.S. and several countries in South America, including to combat drug trafficking in the hemisphere. Trinidad and Tobago, I say, is committed, is very committed to contributing our resources as scarce as they may be, and our capabilities to this alliance, in line with the theme of this year's General Assembly, Better Together. The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, in its 2025 report, World Report, makes a very true, unmistakable fact very clear. The global drug economy destabilizes institutions, corrodes democracy, undermines development. That is